If Ilia Topuria versus Islam Makhachev took place, I believe Ilia Topuria would beat Islam Makhachev and knock him out cold. We're going to be going over this potential matchup. A lot of rumors, a lot of talk has been going around about Ilia moving up to 155. And I believe he has a great chance against Islam, and I think he would beat him. So let's just get straight into the matchup. Now, going into this fight, Ilia Topuria will be the shorter man. We've seen Islam Makhachev struggle against Volk. Volk is a more compact kind of guy. Ilia and him kind of have a similar build. It was hard for Islam to take down Volkanovski and hold him there for too long, other than the fourth round. I think Ilia Topuria has a better chance of stuffing the takedowns and getting up to his feet with his grappling background. He's also younger. He's improving every fight that he's had. He's been improving. He's only 27 years old, I believe, 28, around there. And people will look at the Jai Herbert fight and say he got flash knocked down with a head kick. He got caught. But he was about 25, 26 in that fight, He was still pretty young going into that fight. He's improving every fight. He really hasn't even hit his prime yet, He hasn't even hit 30 years old. I think by the time this fight takes place, he will be leveled up significantly since even the first Volk fight. It's looking like he's going to fight Volk again soon. And I think it's going to be the same result. He's going to go in there and knock out Volkanovski. But back to my point, he's just getting better and better. He's still young, 27, 28. He just has more room to improve to until that fight takes place, which I think is inevitable. I think this fight has... Oh, shit. Go back up. I think it's inevitable. I think this fight will take place, People are calling for it. The fans are calling for it. A lot of people want to see this. I think no one in the 145 division stands a chance against Ilia Topuria, to be honest. Like, who have we seen knock out Volk and Holloway like that, back to back? It's unheard of. It's insane. That's probably the two best wins ever, back to back. Ilia Topuria, he's young. His grappling background, he has more of a grappling background than Volk. I think he would get, again, stuff to takedowns better than Volk, get back to his feet quicker than Volk did. I don't think he would be allowing himself to be held down on the ground like that. But also, I think that his fight style against Islam is more of a pressure boxer. I think Islam's going to have to give him the respect because of his power on the feet, Ilia Topuria has way more power than Volk. He's not going to give, he's going to give more respect to Ilia Topuria than he did Volk. So I don't think Islam will be pushing forward as much as he did against Volk. And Ilia Topuria, I think his style is going to be harder to shoot takedowns on him if he's pressuring Islam Makhachev going forward. And a lot of people don't know Ilia Topuria is pretty much he started out as a wrestler and a jiu-jitsu guy, 8 wins by submission. I don't think he would be using his submissions in the fight against Islam. I think he would just try to scramble, get up to his feet if he were to get taken down. But he has a way better background than Volk. He's short just like Volk, so I think it will pose problems for Islam Makhachev going into that fight. Also, just his style and the power in his hands, like I said. But Islam's also getting older. By the time that fight takes place, I think Islam will be 34 years old. And Ilia will be just coming into his prime. So I think it would be a perfect time for Ilia to come in there and fight Islam Makhachev for the 155 title. I think he poses the greatest threat to Islam in the 155 or 45 division, maybe even the 170 division. But Islam Makhachev, I think what's going to happen is Ilia Topuria will fight Volkanovski. He'll beat him. Islam's probably going to fight either Arman or the winner of Arman versus Oliveira if they run that. He's going to probably fight one more time. Because he was probably looking after this fight, if he were to beat Arman and not Renato Moicano, he'd probably try to get up to the 170-pound division. But I think since Arman pulled out and he had to fight Renato, he's going to have to wait a little bit for that. So I think they're both going to win one fight, and then the UFC is probably going to be like, Islam, face Ilia Topuria. If you beat him, we'll give you that 170-pound title shot. And I think that's how the fight will take place. And I also think Ilia Topuria is just part of this next generation of MMA fighters. They're good at everything. They're well-rounded all around. I'm not saying that Islam Makhachev isn't well-rounded, but these new guys coming up, they're 10 stars out of 10 everywhere, 10 out of 10 grappling, 10 out of 10 striking. Ilia Topuria might be one of the most well-rounded fighters we ever seen. and he hasn't even shown off his grappling as much as he did in his early fights in the UFC. And I think him being shorter also favors the boxing exchanges as well. Islam being taller, he's going to have to punch down at Ilia. While Ilia can punch up, he'll have protection by his shoulders and his arms against the strikes of Islam Makhachev. So I think it's this perfect stylistic matchup for Ilia Topuria to go into for the 155 division. You know, Ilia Topuria, again, shorter. He'll have to punch up against Islam Makhachev. Makhachev will have to punch down, leaving his hands down. And I think if Ilia puts 1, 2, 3 combo together against Islam Makhachev, you know, that could be the end of the night. The only thing I would really be afraid of going into that matchup is Ilia Topuria hasn't faced, you know, as accomplished of a grappler as Islam Makhachev yet. But I believe he'll rise up to the occasion. I believe in his background of grappling and wrestling. And I just believe it's a good stylistic matchup for him with his frame, his height, and his style going into that fight. You know, Islam Makhachev does have a great chance going into that fight as well. No mistake making at all. Islam's a great fighter. Decent striking. His striking has improved at every fight he's been in. You know, I'm not really afraid of the head kick going into this fight. I think people were kind of looking at that going into the Holloway fight and stuff. Like, he got knocked down by Jai Herbert with a head kick. Watch out for that. I think he's improved his striking defense significantly, even in the boxing as well. You know, we've seen in the Holloway fight. But Ilia Topuria, I believe, going into the fight against Islam Makhachev, I would pick him to beat Islam easily. In the first 2 rounds, I think he would get the knockout, in my opinion. But it could go 5 rounds. It could go to decision. And if it goes to decision, I think that Ilia Topuria would win the rounds off just getting knockdowns in the fight. You know, I just think he's the next fighter that's going to be one of the greatest fighters of all time. You know, just the new generation of fighters of great striking, great grappling, good cardio. He's well-rounded everywhere. You know, I can't see anyone in the 145 division stopping him. 155, I just can't wait to see this fight. This is one of the most hyped fights I want to see in 2025. Hopefully this year, early next year, I want to see this fight. You know, I just think Ilia Topuria will do it, and I think he'll be one of the next GOATs of this sport. But I have nothing else to say. That's pretty much going to be it. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Leave a like, subscribe, share the video, comment what you guys want to see next. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.